is where the fun begins.
Hello there. How's it going?
Long have I waited to review the Black Series Mundi. Oh my god, guys, it has been like 2.5 years since the initial leak on this guy. We have never waited this long for a figure, but finally, after all this time, we have Mundi on the table. I'm super amped. Let's get into the review. Alright, you know the drill. As always, we start by taking a look at the packaging. This is your standard Black Series packaging, with a logo up top above a window showing Kiadi and his one accessory off very nicely. You see Attack of the Clones in red, Mundi in red, Warning 4+ Hasbro. Some insanely awesome art of Kiadi just plunging his saber into the ground, looking excellent. His name at the bottom, wraparound window, wraparound red stripe, Black Series logo. Run back, zoom in on that art, Black Series logo again. Bio in varying languages, pause and read whichever best applies to you. He's number 4 in the Attack of the Clones lineup. Bunch of legal stuff in Disney and Hasbro. Barcode and more legal stuff down below. Hanger tab and a window up top. A little bit of light in the box if you're one of those in-box collector losers. I like to play with my toys. Let's open them up. Here's Kiadi out of the packaging. Let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the accessories, or in his case, accessory. He comes with his lightsaber, which looks really, really good. I believe this is reuse from ALS Cura, which is totally fine. Something neat about the prequel trilogy is that the majority of Jedi kind of just got these, like, grab bag lightsabers, if you will, where they kind of made, like, 4 or 5 hilts and then printed them on run. And so the Geonosis Jedi, there's only, like, 5 unique hilts in that arena. They're just all rerun, you know, over and over again by the props department. A little bit of variety, but not like an insane amount. It's not like truly every Jedi has a unique one. So it's okay to have some redos here and there. It's got some very nice silver paint, a little bit of black on the one button down there, a peg on the side, you know where we're going to go with that. Has a very nice shade of blue for the blade. I do like that. Catches the light very nicely. It unpegs from the hilt, and then, as you can probably assume, Kiadi does have a hole on his belt. You peg that pin on the side of the hilt into said hole, and you can have him wearing it, you know, unlit, which is a really good display option. I do like that for Jedi. However, not as much as I enjoy seeing them chopping shit up with their sabers. So it's not what we're going to end up doing in the end, but that's okay. Looking at Mundi, just wow. Something that caught me right off rip. You know, he feels big in the hands. This doesn't feel skinny or, you know, insubstantial. He's a good-sized figure, and I'm happy about that. I mean, it's nice getting a substantial-sized character, and I'm just completely blown away. This is head-to-toe, brand new, no reuse as far as I can tell, which there wouldn't be a lot that they could do. But let's bring him up. I think the likeness here is done very, very well. Mine has just a touch of eyes off to the side, but that's okay. It looks pretty good. He has some really nice swooping eyebrows and the big bushy beard going on. A lot of wrinkling going on around the top of the head. And then he has some hair right at the very top, pulled into a ponytail, because Kiadi is always super stylish. A lot of wrinkling going on in the back. You would never actually think that. It's ribbed for her pleasure, if you will. But, yeah, it's just a really, really good-looking head sculpt. I love everything about it. It's just a really cool design. Now, he's wearing very Jedi robe-looking Jedi robes, but they're not your traditional Jedi robes. He's got a very unique wardrobe. It's kind of like a shortcut Jedi cloak tied over a kind of standard Jedi tunic, if you will. And it's a really good look. I like it. It has a hood that is non-movable. It is sculpted just in a down position around back with a reddish-brown belt with a little bit of silver on the buckle, and that's over top of a tan tunic and then brown pants. And it is all sculpted incredibly nicely. A little bit of texturing going on in all the fabrics, makes it look very fabric-y instead of plasticky. However, there's a touch of shine that you're just going to get with any plastic, which is just what it is. But it captures the look very well. The outer layer below the belt is an overlay over top of the front of like a Jedi skirt, and as you see, there is a pouch there, which is non-functional, but it's there in the movies, so it's there here. There's no, like, tan tunic in the back. It's just in the front, and it's actually got a cut up the center. So it really does get out of the way of your articulation. He's got some very basic brown pants, and then these reddish-brown pirate-looking boots with, like, 4 or 5 buckles on each side. No paint, but that's okay. Just, it looks so cool. Something that I like is that on his left hand, his index and middle finger are slightly out. It's just giving the slightest impression of there being a little bit of a force hand going on. One of my most favorite action figures as a kid was the Clone Wars 375 Kiadi, and he did the same thing, where it was like his left hand was kind of like that. You know, it was kind of like in a sabering holding pose, but also you could kind of like have him mind tricking. So I do like that slight illusion. If you're not going to give us swappable hands, that's a perfectly acceptable alternative in this scale, I do personally believe. Although swappable hands would be absolutely the best, because then you can have like a truly dedicated, you know, force-looking, you know, grabbing hand. But that's okay. I do like what we're getting here. I can't believe I'm finally holding it. It just doesn't feel real after all this time. But, yeah, it's just such a cool figure. It's been long awaited in the collection. But, let's run through some articulation. Let's see how action-y this action figure gets. So he actually has a double ball neck, but the neck is really long, because what goes on is there's a ball in the bottom of the head, but then the whole tan collar there is also a ball joint. So you actually get an insane amount of like tilt on this guy. And then of course your standard 360 pivot, and that far up, which is really good, that far down. I mean, it's really, really good head articulation. His arms come up to a T-pose, and there's a really good, deep butterfly joint, and it's a touch stiff, which isn't bad. It just means that it holds its position well. 360-degree rotation at the shoulders, comes out a little bit when it goes up, because just the rubber overlay of the tunic, it is what it is. Single-jointed elbows can go a little way past 90, and then swivel. Little tight, but that's not bad. It just means he's going to hold his pose. 360 on the wrist, and then they're actually these ball-jointed wrists that they did for a few figures there. I don't know that it's staying around. I haven't seen it on a lot of the newest releases. I think it was something they were experimenting with there for a while, and then we sat on Kiadi for 2 years instead of releasing him. So you can get up and down and in and out. It doesn't quite get the range in any direction that a dedicated hinge does, but it's better than us giving a bunch of Jedi that can do this instead of pointing their saber, so I'll take it. Mid-torso ball joint allows him to crunch that far forward, that far back, get some side-to-side pivot and rotation. His legs can kick all the way out. The rubber skirt gets in the way a little bit, but that's alright. Legs can kick that far forward, not much back. The rubber skirt definitely gets in the way there. There is an upper thigh cut in there, although it's kind of useless because the single-jointed knees that go past 90 have a swivel. There is a boot cut, which you don't see too often on Black Series, so that's cool. And then the feet can articulate straight down, a little bit forward, and there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, allowing you to get Kiadi into some decently wide stances with both feet flat on the ground. To do some size comparisons, let's stand them up there. For a little bit of a standard, here is a Phase 2 Clone Trooper. Now, if Kiadi wasn't so smart that he had such a big old dome, they would be standing a pretty similar height. You know, the eyes and the mouth are at the same point. Thank you, Ood. To bring in some Jedi friends, here's Plo Koon. I don't know where my Kit Fisto got off to. Kit Fisto has disappeared. He's not on my shelf. He's not in my storage because I've kind of been rearranging, which happens sometimes when you rearrange figures. Things go missing. It'll turn up eventually. So there won't be a Kit Fisto here, which is unfortunate. But it'll be okay. So let's go with the arena look for now. So we'll get rid of the Phase 2 clone as I bring in more figures. So yeah, all in all, Kit Fisto, or Kiadi Mundi, I'm sorry, is the tallest guy here. I feel that is absolutely acceptable given he's the smartest guy here. And I just really like the scaling. So, at the end of the day, what do I think of the Black Series Kiadi Mundi? Well, what I really mean to say is, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees? For reals, though, I love this figure. I would say worth the wait, But man, it was almost 3 years, so maybe no figure's worth waiting that long. But I will say, I am glad that we waited 3 years, almost 3 years, and it's not a dud, because that would have been awful. I'm really happy with this figure. I think that this is some of the finest work that the Black Series has tended to do. It is just a great showcase of their sculpting, articulation, and likeness, and a phenomenal photoreal application. And I have not one negative thing to say about this figure other than, where have you been? So I'm just incredibly amped to finally have Kiadi in the collection. Another thing I'd like to say is I did buy this from Nerdzoic. It was my first ever order from Nerdzoic. However, I've been a longtime fan of Big Nerdy's channel. And so, like I said, it was my first time ordering something. He had it in stock, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. It was packed phenomenally. I'm not an inbox collector, but if you are an inbox collector, you would love ordering from him. It was incredibly well bubble wrapped. Something else I did was when I checked out, there was a little spot in your payment section to like put in like a note. And so I just said, hey, I love your content, Big Nerdy. Finally made my first order with y'all. Super and for this big-headed guy. Hope you're doing great. And I actually got a handwritten note from Big Nerdy on the invoice that was in there. So that's really cool. I have a little box of things that I've gotten from other creators. If I ever get a thank you card or an invite to an event, you know, like a formal thing, I just have a little box that I put that stuff in on my desk, a little box of sentimental stuff, and that's where that's going, because I've been a big fan of him for some time. So I got a little extra treasure here, if you will. But thank you guys for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, you should leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the end of video stuff. I'll catch you next time. If you're interested, you should check out my channel memberships down below for 99 cents a month. You can become an HTR superfan. Just a little token, an extra token of appreciation if you care to do so. If not, no big deal. I'll catch you next time. Until then, may the Force be with each and every one of you, and goodbye.